99 hustles. 99 hustles.
Welcome to the 99 Hustles podcast. I'm your host, Nick Carter.
And I'm your co-host, International Fees.
And today we're joined by another dope, resourceful, creative hustler by the name of Byron Sellers. Byron, thanks for being on the show with us today, man.
Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you being available. I know it's been a crazy start to 2021, but one thing we want to make sure we do is get this information out to the people. Byron has an incredible entrepreneur story, one I think that very relatable to a lot of people, and people might have been in the same kind of position that he was in when he got started. So before I tell too much of his own story, Byron, why don't you give us a little background and tell us a little bit about yourself?
For sure. So what's up, everybody listening? So myself, I had been in the transportation industry for 10 years. I kind of did everything the traditional way, right? Went to, college, got out in 4 years, went and got my first 9 to 5 in the corporate world. And, that was my ticket, right? I just knew that, hey, I'm going to climb this corporate ladder and life is going to be amazing. And, you learn a lot within that, right? I tell people in that 10 years, I was fired from 4 different jobs. And, each time some of those hurt. And then after a while, you just kind of just had to realize like, these people aren't loyal to me.
Yeah.
And so I started kind of tapping in because I want to say about like 2015, things just wasn't adding up, right? I was making like $67,000 for the year, but I only maybe had like $200 every 2 weeks to my name. And I was paying nothing but debt. Of course, I'm paying my student loans. I'm paying high credit card bills because, I want to keep up. I want to go out. I want to get nice stuff. But now I'm kind of stuck. So I went through a phase where it was just like kind of, I remember my first, I forgot who it was, but it was just like, look around your friends and add up your salary. And that's pretty much your net worth. And everybody around me was making like less than like 40,000. And here I am, what I made. And I'm just like, it's time for a change. And man, that's when I really started diving into more so personal development. I read my first book, Peter Vogel's 6 Months to 6 Figures, tapped into Tim Ferriss, right? The 4-hour work week. I'm really starting to tap in. And then of course I get introduced to Rich Dad, Poor Dad from one of the drivers that I manage. And I'm gonna give a really quick story on that. He saw me looking on Redfin for properties and he's like, he's like, you want to get real estate? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I'm like, nope.
Yep.
He's like, you're not serious. So me again, I'm looking at him like, how you gonna tell me I'm your manager? Now I'm thinking I'm power tripping. So every day he saw me, he's like, you got that book yet? He's like, you're not serious. He's calling me out now. So I'm like, dude. So I finally ordered it probably 3 weeks later and I get it and it changed my life. It, once I saw that the quadrants and things, I'm just like, yo. So now I'm already knowing I'm going to change the trajectory of my life. Like this job, I'm going to fire it before it fires me. Right. This is exactly what I know. And sure enough, again, I'm really becoming engulfed. I'm starting to really pay for my personal development. I entered a life coaching program because I'm like, I want to change lives. I just did not know what it was. And March 3rd, 2017, because I realized I was not that much engaged in work anymore, I was fired. And that was like a wake-up call, right? Because before that, I was trying to get a multifamily property in Chicago. That didn't work out. Then I was fired. So that was my decision to say, you know what? I'm never going back. I don't care what it takes. I prayed every day to say, God, show me the worst that can happen because I know this is going to get me over the hump. And sure enough, the things that happened, I maxed out my credit. My credit dropped from, a high 600 to, a low 500. My car note, I ended up getting my car repo because I believed that much in my business that I lost it. Right. I end up even, I tried so many things because I was just hungry. Right. I was just so hungry. And, after a while, after those like that first 9 months, it was just like, oh man, you can't throw nothing in my way, right? Because now I've been hit while I was down so many times that it was just like, yo, the next thing is bound to work. And that happened to be mobile home investing.
Let me ask you a question, Byron. So prior to picking up those books, like, were you like the entrepreneurial spirit, right? Because it's a frame of thinking, it's a way of approaching things. So prior to that, like, did you have any type of entrepreneurial like spirit, or was it a complete, wake up call once you opened up those books?
So I would say I was a hustler, right?
Okay.
I was a hustler, and I'm gonna share this with y'all audience. Again,
Okay.
I'm way past that, but like, I just sell weed at work. So that was one thing.
Man,
like,
it's legal everywhere now.
Right, it's legal, right?
Yep.
So to me, it was like, I tried different things. But I was always scared to make the leap myself. Right, that paycheck was safe for me.
Yeah.
And I kind of had it, but I didn't really know what it took. And, that right there was something that those books really opened up, and it really had me to think wealth versus, just make some quick dollars. I want to make a few extra dollars.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what we tell people all the time, man, the power of investing in yourself, right? And investing in that knowledge, from both the books and the leadership development program, those programs and, those sort of things work. They pay off in the long run. And to go back to what I was just saying, and to just, as far as like changing your mindset and changing your approach in the way that, you look at money, you know what I'm saying, in general. So you get to mobile home investing like that. That's like the most unique, random hustle ever. Like, how did you get led to mobile home investing?
Man, so I became a heavy listener in podcasts, and I never wanted to let real estate go, and I would always be engulfed in real estate, and I would listen to the Bigger Pockets platform.
Pockets, okay.
Yeah, and they had a podcast that they happened to be on mobile home investing, and I was listening to it, and I was intrigued, and maybe probably within the first like 15 minutes, I was driving Lyft. Right, I was driving Lyft, and I used to always have my passengers listen to podcasts with me, and they was just like, "Can you turn that off? We want to listen to some music." So I'm like,
yeah.
All right, let me switch it. And some told me, I was like, let me send this to Sharnice. Let me send this boy to Sharnice, because I just think that she needs to hear this. I sent that to her when I came home. I had never seen her that excited about anything. Oh, wow. And kind of for her background, like she was this transition for her. She was thinking about going back to work, right? Because she had got laid off from her job as well. And we were going app crazy. And that was the first thing that sparked her to say, Byron, I think this is it, Byron. And I was like, okay, babe, let's go then. Like, I ain't got nothing to lose. I've been taking L's. If you think this is it, then let's get it.
Yeah. And so there it is right there. So that moment you guys got started, there's an interesting story along with that, right? Is in order to get that initial capital, you guys took out a high interest loan. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, for us, man, we're doing our due diligence, and we start seeing so many homes like 5,000, 2,000, 3,000. We're like, oh man, but we didn't have the capital. So like, where are we gonna get this money from? And we first tried our banks. Of course, our banks told us no. And, it's just like, okay, where can we get it? And we just start online. And, all these, Sharnice found all of these, of course, Lending Tree, Lending Club, all these personal loans. And we didn't even care about the high end. We just like, how much we need. And we were just like, yo, like, we think we could do something with 10. So we took out 10K, right? The interest rate was 24%. Woo. And Sharnice co-signed for me on that one.
Oh, man.
That's what got us started. Love. Yeah, that's love for real.
And all right, so you guys got the capital, you got the the spark of inspiration. From there, I imagine you had to begin the research and looking for the property. How was that going out to like look for your first deal and close your first deal? Like did it click in right away for you guys?
No, so our first deal, our first deal took about 3 months and a half, right? Okay. We dug into it, and when I tell you, but we became relentless in it, because we hit the road. Like, we're in Chicago, we drove all the way down to Cincinnati, We was all over Northwest Indiana, parts of Indiana. We were all over Central Illinois. Like we were nonstop. We hit the phones. We were doing nothing but cold calling parks, right? And for your listeners, I'm gonna tell you guys, here's a hack. You type in Google Maps and then you type in mobile home parks, and all of this list of every mobile home park that you can literally take your mouse, all of this opportunity popped up.
Yeah.
And so we just started hammering the phones. We were getting so many no's. People were like, no, we don't do that. And we were just relentless, right? It was two of us. So we was like, we can hammer things out. And that took time, right? It was some deals that, we almost got screwed over because we didn't know what we were doing. It wasn't a lot of information out there on how to conduct due diligence on mobile homes. So, we would come across crap, and it'll be like, I'm so used to seeing a property for $60,000-$70,000, and then it's gonna still take $100,000 to get up. So when I see a property for $4,000, I'm like, oh, this is a cakewalk. Yeah, let's get this. You right? But then not understanding that mobile homes, that I can come across something even cheaper and be able to add value to it at a lower price. And so it took 3 months and a half, and we found our first deals was amazing, man.
Man, so mobile homes. That was my understanding. So, okay, so I found out about mobile home investing, by just looking up, constantly trying to like find new hustles and new creative avenues. What I will tell you, number one is, so I was looking at this list. I found mobile home investing. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Byron, I got to tell you, I couldn't look up anything mobile investing and you not pop up. Like, you guys are definitely the authorities in that space. And it's interesting to hear that about those initial trials and like getting started and figuring it out. I think I could speak for Fees also. Both of us are still kind of like trying to learn. The way I'm understanding right now is like it's kind of like real estate. It's like somewhere between investing in real estate and a property with the prices of like purchasing a used car. Does that make sense? And you mentioned earlier about the mobile parks. So are you guys looking at full parks, or are you guys looking at like individual like vehicles? Yeah.
So no, definitely. I love how you gave that example, like a used car. And really flipping a mobile home is just like flipping a used car. The difference is you want to make it clean, safe, and functional for your buyer, right? But used cars, you may just put it to a nice detail and make sure you get some car maintenance, right? So it is on the same lines, right? Same thing at title, the bill of sale, it is on those lines, but now you're just providing affordable housing. And to answer the question, we've been blessed, man. We've been doing this. We started in 2018. And we've graduated. We've been blessed in 2020, man. We went ahead and locked down 4 mobile home communities. So we have a total of 272 units.
Wow. You guys picked up the whole community.
Now, just for, I guess,
like when you were working your job,
better understanding,
no like you could have saw that coming.
Right. Especially, not to say that you don't have any experience with mobile homes. I mean, obviously we don't know what your background necessarily is, but it just seems like something that isn't the most accessible thing for someone that's doesn't come from that lifestyle. Like, how do you even start going around looking for these parks, or even just one-off homes? It's wow, that's that's a lot.
It's really
a
like
lot to take in.
You're learning a whole new world. Like that's what it's like. That's the craziest thing to me, man.
But the world's right in front of us. I mean, we've gone by. I mean, who hasn't driven by a trailer park? Yeah. For instance, me and Nick went to state schools up in Pennsylvania. And I know for a fact we lived right next to them. There was plenty of mobile homes like on the way to campus.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, that's dope, man. And that's funny thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So I know you kind of got inspiration from like listening to podcasts to kind of get your foot in the door. Were there other agencies out there that you kind of like looked at to kind of use to maybe like build like your business after?
So I think most of that kind of came just through meeting more people in the industry, because when we came in, and we didn't nobody looked like us, for one, that when we came in this industry,
right?
And
you're like I'm the only one in here with a mask on.
Facts. But I think that
walk into Walmart.
Man, seriously. And I think for them at the time when I came in, I had like locks. And I had I call them in Chicago. I had them Chicago locks, right? My locks was probably like this little, like the little cheap
drill locks.
The drill locks. That's what I had. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it was shocking because most people took us with open arms. Like, what are you trying to do? Oh, wow! And they would be taken back. Like, okay. When it's like they were more willing to help us, and we learned so much just from park owners, park managers. Wow. Themselves was just pouring into us because it was like, yo, these kids, I can tell they talk different. Right, they look different, and they got some edge behind them. And we might as well give them the game because they hungry. So
they're hungry.
We, a lot of people start to begin to help us, and that's how we really did. And I'm just a big data person, so everything I take notes. Like and when somebody's talking to me, I'll pull out my phone and I'll pull out my notes, and I'm like, okay, hold on, can you say that again? And I'm just taking down notes. And then what really sparked us was the mobile homes that we got. The lot rent, and for everybody not knowing what lot rent is, so mobile home parks are pretty much like a huge parking lot, right? And the reason why I say that because for every house that's in the mobile home community, they pay a monthly lot fee. Okay, so that's how the owner makes his money. So for us, we noticed the lot rent was $575. They had over 600 units. So when Sharnice was at, we was like, yo, we like these homes, but if you do the math, they getting $575 per unit, and then 600 plus units. No, baby. Wow. We gonna own these parks. That's what we got to do. So that was the goal from the beginning, right? We knew we had to work our way up. Let's get acclimated with the homes, and so that became the goal. So we spoke that into existence every day. Like, we're gonna get a park, but we're going to do deals, right? And then eventually, right? We can't. It switched. Like, man, every time we told people mobile home investing, they'd be like, what? Like trailers? Like 8 Mile? Like, is that what you're talking about? Right? And we like, yeah. And that would spark curiosity. So it was like, you know what? We got to teach our people this because, we didn't see anybody who looked like us. And we was just like, yo, not only we're going to share this, but we're going to show people on our journey what this looks like.
Now, through that journey, did you find yourself learning maybe, because like, for instance, when you mentioned when you first got into it, you realized no one really looked like you. Were you nervous at all that you weren't going to be accepted, or it was going to be even harder to get that information just because you're kind of hesitant? You're like, why would they help me out? Like, you know what I mean? Did you find yourself thinking like, or did you come to a point where you're like, damn, there's people out there just want to help regardless of what they look like?
Yeah. No, you know what though? I will say what helped me, I had a life coach before I even got into that. And one key thing that helped me to realize was it's all about energies, right? And a lot of times we can use the excuse of skin color, and I'm already going into it with a negative, with a mindset, right? I'm already blocking down possibility. So for me, it was once I started approaching people, the biggest thing for me is if I come off and again, I'm welcoming, right? And I'm bringing vulnerability into the space that allows them to be vulnerable with me and they can exchange. Like most people, I cannot tell you the last time I've had a bad exchange, or I don't remember having a bad exchange with someone whose energy has been totally off. And normally if they are, they're able to calm because they'll see that I'm in a calm mode and I'm not going to engage in that. And so a lot of times that energy gets down and their vulnerability is open. And now we're able to kind of have a discussion. So the cool thing, over the phones, when we were making phone calls, you would get some kind of, more fast, but learning the industry, most of these park managers are overworked. So that explained later on down the line, but no, we went into it, and I'll be real, like for me and my girl, like we from Chicago, so we ain't scared of nothing. So we like, we coming down, we coming to their hood. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Come on, what's up? Let's talk money green, baby.
Yeah. Indeed. And you said the goal from the beginning was just to flip. To have one, get another one, and then another one, and then eventually have an entire park. Yeah. And that's really, that's the same, that mirrors real estate so much, because I guess it is a form of real estate. Now you guys also have courses and you teach others how to do the same. What would you say somebody just now, like just signing up for your course, just getting in the game, what's like the biggest misconception that they might have about it starting out? like, that you have to like, recalibrate expectations for.
Break down that barrier.
Yeah. So I think for one, a lot of times they see the success stories and they don't understand there's still work involved.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
This is an industry where it is becoming, where you can have, you can do it virtually. So it is becoming that, but it's kind of a prehistoric industry. A lot of people it wasn't shared. It wasn't a lot of information on there. And so it is work. It is going to take time. And so the one thing I tell people is, if you can carve out, possibly, because most mobile home parks are in rural areas. So it does require driving, right? If you're not up, if you're not near one, it does require. And if it is a mobile home park in your city, it's going to be, not to say overpriced, but the prices are higher than what you'll see in rural areas. So the biggest thing is just, you got to be willing to go out and get your hands dirty, right? It's going to take some time. You're buying mobile homes that are, 1980, 1985, they're 30 plus years old at times, right? So you may find some underlying things, just like in a, regular single family house or multifamily unit, right? You got to be aware of things. And then I tell people the biggest thing is, should I say, you definitely just want to be aware of major things. So if you find a mobile home, roofing, that can cost you more money. Plumbing, right? Roofing, a brand new roof can cost you upwards to eight to 10K. That can cut down your margins. Plumbing can be, depending on the plumber, anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. Electrician is not that bad, but the plumbing and the roof are the main things. Everything else is cosmetic. I tell people to fully rehab a single wide, you're only $14,000 in. Right. And compared to a single family house, which it can be a minimum, the kitchen gonna cost you almost $15,000 alone, right? $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
And then the last but not least, I'll tell you to watch out. Most of the homes you guys will, you'll see that say needs to be moved. Those will be your cheapest homes. But here's the reality. If you don't have a buyer's list, if you don't know, if you're not shopping that to a mobile home community, or if you're not shopping that to mobile home dealers, and you don't have any place to move that mobile home to, you don't even have movers lined up, stay away from that. Because we get people like, oh yeah, I saw a mobile home for $1,000 and it says it needs to be moved. And it's like, okay, what are your plans?
Where are you gonna move it to?
Exactly. I just saw it was cheap. And it's like, okay, so now you're gonna buy it. Now the owner's gonna be, on your heels to move this home, and you got to try to figure things out, and that can be definitely can cost you some money.
And so you guys
now, did you have?
My bad, Fees. I think there's
go ahead, Nick.
I'll edit that out. So Byron, do you guys have like properties not only in Illinois, obviously, right? Are you're all over the place?
Yeah, so we started. We started in Illinois, then we ventured out to Indiana, and our mobile home communities are actually in PA. So we have, we have some in Pitt and Greensburg, PA.
Oh wow!
Okay,
wow, that's all over the place, man. Is that difficult to manage?
I was gonna say Pitt. That's close to where Nick went to school.
Oh, nice. You know what? So the cool thing I tell people: so when you buy a mobile home community, you're buying a business. And that's the biggest thing you should look for, right? We didn't want to buy something, invest in something that we had to be built from the ground up. We wanted something that was already operating, where we can find the gaps and then fill those and make sure it runs itself. So the parks we have our park managers already in place, our maintenance, and we were able to take the previous owners, the same people, keep them on, so that way they don't lose their jobs, and add value and see where gaps is, and they can help us to make the park much better. And our partner actually, he lives, he's more so the operator. He lives in PA, and so for him, the cool thing about it is, he may go to the park maybe once a month or so, because it operates itself.
No, that's incredible. It sounds like you definitely took some lessons from the 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
Just,
you got a manager.
You get everything set up, so have everything run for you, and it's truly passive. Now, are there other lessons you took from other things you read that really you've incorporated just into your business structure?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. One of my favorite books is called The Go-Giver. And I think that really translates into the education space. And for me, I pride myself on over delivering, right? We have a product. Here's the thing, like you said, you guys went to school. I came out of college and I owed $62,000 in student loans, right? And, my job, I wasn't going to be able to pay that off unless I just worked for free for the next, 2 to 3 years. And so one thing I try to do is I'm big on return on investment, right? And so I want to offer a value product that, when I say a product, I believe in the mantra of monetize your genius, right? And the reason I say that is because anything you do, right? I mean, that's what college is doing, right? They're monetizing their genius. The professor is getting paid off his genius. So that's the same thing. I feel like I can relate that to anything. So, the Go Giver just has me just give. And that's even affordable housing space, right? I mean, my tenants, it's times of Christmas. I let them, here's this month off for free. I don't even care about my bottom line, because at the end of the day, I wanted to make it a win-win. And the more I give, I just, I'm blessed to receive, but I'm not even looking for, the blessings, but they just come pouring in. So it's just like, I just try to over deliver, give so much. And, that book changed my life.
No, it sounds like through your, different books you read, and I'm sure the life coach that you had before you got into this, it feels like a lot of these things keep coming back in your answers. Is kind of just like going back to energy and, the whole notion. There's like this popular term now, right? It's like conscious capitalism, which is something that feels like we keep kind of beating around the bush to. Is kind of like, okay, there's a way to make money, be financially free, and still be able to look yourself in the mirror
be a
and
good
feel
person.
good about what
Yeah. Be a good person.
Yeah. Right.
And you don't want it all by yourself, right? Like,
nah.
nobody wants that. Like, give as much. And there's only so much. Yeah. And there's only so much too. Like, and the best feeling, there's no better feeling is like, even when we get messages for the podcast, this helped me. That's the best. That's the best feeling. That's
best feeling.
How you do it, bro.
Facts.
Yeah.
Man, so you guys have places in Pennsylvania. That's probably, like you said, near where I went to school.
Yeah, for sure.
So when we talk to, so like with the real estate game, like a lot of times people do talk about like repairs, and like, not necessarily themselves having certain type of skills. Like, are there like certain types of like nuanced skills that goes into maintaining the house, or is that all outsourced to the to like a maintenance, the manager that you referenced earlier?
Yeah. So I would say this in our community, yes, the maintenance, but if anyone is a, investor that's coming on and, starting out with one mobile home, mobile homes, the cool thing about inside cosmetically is very basic, right? I'm talking about just, most mobile homes, you putting down laminate floors, you can, you'll even see some of them even have the huge, very simple, right? Pill and stick. We use pill and stick in one of ours before. But, when it comes to, certain professionals, the plumbing is a little bit different because everything is above ground, right? And so a lot of times you may call Roto-Rooter, but they don't want to get under a mobile home to do the plumbing, right? You may have some sectors that may, but, for the most part, you can find some guys who have experience, right? I tell people, listen, if you're in an area where your local Home Depot has people outside waiting for work, you can definitely utilize those guys and get some stuff done. And then anything, the roofing, and that's really a need. I want to encourage anybody listening that here's a need. There's a lack of mobile home contractors and mobile home actually handymen. There's a lack of it, especially to find reliable, because most people who work on mobile homes live inside of the community, and that's just their thing, right? And the reason sometimes they're not unreliable because some of them do suffer from drug addiction, alcoholism, right? It's just their hustle. And we've experienced it. I've had guys run off with tools, money, all that kind of stuff, right? And and so that's why it's a huge need. And I think as we continue to transcend this industry and give it a new look, it's definitely a huge need and opportunity for it as well.
Would you say, are you into the flipping more or investing?
That's a good question. Now I'm strictly mobile home parks. Mobile home parks. That's this year our goal is to get 10 more. And so so yeah, man. And so, that's another, I love it because it's like I'm a beginner in it, right? Even though we had our deals, the good thing about those deals, we were able to be passive investors in that and still learn from the relationship we have from our partner, right? Now this is us, is like, no, we're going to quarterback these deals and we're going to, you know, build all the relationships with the banks. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure, you know, when we go do our due diligence, we see every nook and cranny of it. So that way, at the end of the day, once for us, we're going to teach people how to get mobile home parks, right? We're already in a lane where we're offering information, but we want to document it so we can say, hey, listen, now this is a whole nother sector. This is a multi-billion-dollar sector that we need in on, and let's get it.
That's inspirational, man. Like just the idea of, you know, the first time you're hearing it and it's mobile home investment, you're like, how is there money in this?
Yeah.
And then you get into it, then you're like, oh, you realize, no, the money's actually in these lots. Oh, okay. The money's in owning these parks. Oh, so
we're
step by step, you're like, yeah, that's the whole idea, right? The whole the journey is really what the point of it is. You know, there is no actual end goal. It's not like, all right, once I get to 10, I'm done and I'm gonna, you know. So we'll definitely have to have you back once you have your 10th
sure. Let's get it.
And
property done. So
I do want to talk about, so you guys took out that $10,000 loan. After looking back on it now, would you say that, you know, that's how much money somebody needs to get started? Or like, would you say you can get started with even less? Like, would you say 10K is like the right number to get started with this?
So the 10K, all that varies on your region. Like the Midwest mobile homes are probably the cheapest other than the South, right? When you get to the Georgias, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas. And then the Midwest is right second in line to that region. But I'll encourage anyone, if you're listening, wholesaling mobile homes is the way to start. That's the less risk. You don't have that much skin in the game. There are so many people that need help selling their mobile homes. And now what you're able to do is, right, just like traditional, you know, wholesaling, you're going to put them on a purchase agreement contract. But now you have the ability to, you know, you don't necessarily have, like I said, have to have that skin in. So your goal is to find the buyers. Right. Your goal is to find that buyers. And we have so many people that are just killing it right now and just wholesaling mobile homes.
So would you say that it's wholesaling mobile homes is pretty much mirrors real estate wholesaling?
Yep. But the beautiful thing about it, you need less contracts. Your purchase agreement is really the only contract you really need. I'm going to give you guys, your listeners, some gems to close a mobile home wholesale. You just need bill of sales, like just bill of sales, and whoever owns the home, they'll have their title of the home. That's it.
It's just like selling a car.
Just like selling cars. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
flipping
crazy.
Cars.
That's crazy. How are the tenants? Do you ever have any, you know, come across any issues with that at all? Is, you know.
We had one. So far, our tenants was, man, they've been, even the ones we had, they weren't ignorant or anything like that, right? We screen our tenants. You know, I'm about energy again. If I don't got good energy with these people, or if I feel like they're trying to, you know, I'm not renting. I don't care about your money, right? But we had some tenants that kind of fell down bad, and unfortunately, their integrity wasn't there, right? It was we don't really know. I honestly think the family had covered up for their son. It was just like, we're all living here, but I think the son was living there by himself and didn't have the means to live there. So unfortunately, here's the reality. Like I had gave them 30 days to leave the premises of my property because they were 2 months behind. And the mobile home community ended up evicting them because they're on 2 separate leases. So when when you're in a mobile home park, you're on a lease with the park because remember I talked about you're leasing the land and the amenities that's inside the community. And then as the owner, the title owner, right, they're on a lease with me, basically saying, you know, and that deal was a really sweet deal, man. I mean, like they were paying $400 a month for 60 months, but they didn't even make it past 8 months with me, right? And you know, I mean, for me, the thing was, you know, communication. They lacked communication, and I tried to give them a chance, but the park didn't play no games and end up evicting them. So I ended up getting my house back, and I just ended up selling that house for $10,000 cash.
Wow. See, and that's the thing is like Fees, to your question, like I'm just thinking about how, like, with real estate, when people are collecting that monthly rent, like a lot of that goes to like the mortgage, or, you know, a lot of it might go to like paying the loan. Like, what it sounds like you guys can buy like a trailer, you know, like, well, at least an individual individual trailer for like cash, right? And then so the money that you collect in rent, that's profit.
Profit.
Understand that correctly?
Yep, profit. And so the way
that's an amazing hustle.
Oh yeah, man. And another way to hack is so every lot has a different lot rent, right? So I'm gonna give you a perfect example. What we do is we normally base it off what's the average rent in the area. So let's say the average rent in the area is, $1,000. And the community's lot rent is $500 a month. So for us it's like, okay, we're going to come in and be in line. So I may come in and say, hey, I'm offering $1,000. You can own your house in 4 to 5 years. I collect that $500 profit. They pay the park that $500. You do the math, right?
Yeah.
$500 in 60 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I probably only paid maybe $8,000 for the house.
Right. So do you have, as the owner, do you also have an agreement with the park, or is that just a tenant?
Just a tenant. So here's the thing, when you first start, you get on a lease with the park just to be inside, right? You say, I'm gonna follow the rules. I promise to pay you every month for this, but my intention is to sell a home. So the minute I sell it, my thing was I wanted to at least put 3 to 4 months lot rent to the side, right? So if it's $500, again, I'm gonna put at least $2,000 to the side just in case, if I extend it. But my goal is I want to sell this house in 30 days, right? So yeah, I pay that, and the minute I get a buyer in, they're responsible for that, and that's no longer my responsibility. If I'm doing seller financing, now I'm the lien holder on the title. So just like a car, right? When you get financed for a car, whoever they may be, they're the lien holder. Your name is on the title. But if you default, then we take our stuff back. And
you're the bank.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much we the bank.
Big bank.
Yeah. That's it's so unique, man. It's such a creative hustle that does not take much capital to get going. Like a lot of times, real estate game, you need like 50 to 100, racks. I imagine you've been listening to Bigger Pockets podcast. So you listen to different episodes. You're like, oh, I could do this one.
This one stands out, right? Because wholesaling, I'm in Chicago, and every block is we buy homes. So
yeah, a lot of people do it. Yeah,
it wasn't really, don't get me wrong. I knew I can get into it, but it just was like, okay, I got to get in with the wolves. But then when I found this, it was like, it's wide open. At the time when we started, it was only like 10 other investors in Illinois.
Wow. And you started 2 years ago? 3 years ago now, I guess?
Yeah, 3 years, 2018.
Wow. So the market.
And it's interesting because you mentioned earlier how this is like almost an archaic industry. So you're talking about, mobile homes have been around since forever. It's not like a brand new, invention, but the idea of investing and flipping and owning these to me, it sounds like a pretty brand new concept in terms of getting it out to the masses. Like, I feel like the people that know, but the rest of us are probably like, what are you talking about? Like, it doesn't even sound like, like a normal, like a thing you can do. But
yeah. No, and the funny thing, I thought I would ruffle some feathers for people that would be in the industry, but they actually are open and engaging and welcoming as well, because they understand there's that much money on the table, right? There's over 44,000 mobile home communities in the country, and that's just mobile home communities. We talk about mobile homes on land, like, man, it's over 24 million people live in mobile homes. So there's a lot of potential out there, right? You're talking about close to 6 to 7% of the country. And I think as far as when you talk about investors, that's a great deal to really get into it.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of people that are normally in real estate coming into this industry now, or is it still kind of just random people listening to podcasts?
Man, listen, the impact, it's almost surreal at times when I hear the impact of what has been since we started to teach this. And, the good thing, I'm good friends with most people that are teaching this. And, for example, I was just in Georgia last weekend, and to drive and see "We Buy Mobile Home" signs, it's like, yo, they got that from us. Like that was crazy, and I mean, yeah, they killing it, man.
I told you, man. You guys
like a proud dad.
you guys are everywhere, man. I mean, mobile home investing. Even when I would find like other interviews on like, I'm like, okay, let me see, there's somebody new. It would be like you guys getting interviewed. And I was like, wow, definitely like in that space, you guys are the experts, man. And it's a pleasure for us to sit and hear this game. Because like I said, for me, this is like something I've never even, I wouldn't even thought about. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it makes a lot of sense, and it makes sense for somebody who's been thinking about real estate, but might not want to make that crazy of a leap. They can kind of get started with the mobile home game. Now I touched on it briefly. You guys offer courses, correct? And that's on the website. Can you talk a little bit about like, the teaching aspect of what it is that you do now?
Yes, for sure. So within our 6 month, we said we got to teach this. Like we realized it's like, yo, nobody looks like us who's doing this. And, honestly, that was more so for our family and friends. And, we would start getting more traction, but honestly, a lot of them, our family and friends didn't move on it. So it was like, yo, we got to teach somebody this. and we just started with a webinar. And if, we did this webinar Wednesday, and we did this literally for 1.5 years straight. And, it just started catching wind, right? I think a few people started, reaching out to us, and we didn't even know who was reaching out to us. When I say that, we didn't know like their impact on the mobile home industry, right? We're just okay, yeah, somebody, is reaching out to us and things like that. Wow. And, the good thing about it, most of these people we still have in our network, and we look at it now like, oh, like we knew, but it was
remember you.
Yeah, exactly. But it was, we was always genuine. We always kept it 100. And, later on those relationships ended up being beneficial, and it just kept catching. And I think that, it's funny, and people say like when you blow, it was like once you earn your leisure, we did that episode. It was just like boom. It was like everywhere we went, we were everywhere. We were in Mexico and somebody recognized us.
That was where I first saw you guys. That was where I first saw you guys.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy. We ended up being like that #1 episode for like almost like a year run, man. My man, CEO insane. Troy Brown passed. A few other people passed us, but we said we're gonna get back on there and got to talk the mobile home park game.
Yeah, man.
Got to get that #1 spot back.
Yeah, you guys are all over the place with it, man. It's such a beautiful thing because, like you said, not many people who look like us in that space. And I keep going back to it, but again, it's such a creative thing. And it's something you guys are bringing to the table and adding value, man.
Appreciate it.
So Byron, one thing we always ask every body who's been on our show is, what is your hustle mantra? Now, your hustle mantra can kind of be like, just a quote or a phrase or something that you kind of like live your life by or run your business by. So like, what would that be? Like, if you had to give your hustle mantra, what would that be? Man,
you know what? I got to shout out my man, E.T. The one thing that really changed my mind is, I want to succeed as bad as I want to breathe. And that one is, just even being in, and just to see what my life has changed in 3 years, completely monetary, just my faith, everything, that right amazing. There was, ET was a huge catalyst, man. He was like that coach that, you don't know him personally, but
you feel,
you feel, exactly. You feel connected. And, I would keep hearing that. And, the meaning of that was, it was just like, and not even put in a literal sense, but that right there, man, was just, I knew I was that hungry for it. And I realized my purpose is not just for me, right? It's way bigger than me. And my life purpose is love. Like I love doing, I love giving. I love, just being, just in general. So, that right there was just like, when I saw that, it was just like, I think about my mother and father, right? I think about my aunties. I think about everybody who was there for me. And, the best thing I could do is just lead by example and, and put people in positions to win.
That's beautiful, man. I know. Yeah. And anyone who follows down that path of just trying to find inspiration and just go down, always comes across ET, man. That I mean, those stories he has, like the Beyonce story, we've heard, you know, if you listen to one of them, you heard them all. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
and they feel so, you know, you feel connected to it. Like you don't know him, but you feel like he's right there, like telling it to you, like get up, it's time to go to work. You know what I mean?
Man.
But I mean, Byron, first and foremost, thank you again for being a guest. I know this is going to be an episode that our listeners are really going to have a lot to say about, just in the sense that it's something that, you know, conceptually makes all the sense in the world.
It's relatable. Yeah.
It's very relatable. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
In front of your face the whole time. Yeah.
I've seen that all the time. But more than that, I just appreciate your energy and just kind of the overall message and vibe you give out. It's definitely inspirational to us, and I'm sure our guests will have something to say about it. So we'll be sure to link all of your course, your website. But if you want to real quick, just plug in like your social or any handles you want people to reach you at.
Yes, for sure. And first and foremost, guys, thank you for having me on here. I truly appreciate you guys for reaching out and making this happen. And thank you again. And definitely keep on doing what you guys are doing, educating the masses. This is what we need, right? We definitely need this moving forward. So everybody, man, listen, you guys can find, if you want to follow me personally, my Instagram is at Byron S. Sellers. Make sure you follow the business page at Mobile Home Elite Investors. And this is on Instagram and Facebook for both. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, MH Elite Investors. And then you can go to our website, www.mobilehomeeliteinvestors.com, if you are curious about any of our products or our programs.
That's it, man. You hold it. You heard it right there first, man. I'm interested at this point, man. That's
2021. We coming for the mobile homes, baby. We coming for the mobile homes.
Let's get it.
Need 10. All
right.
You going Byron, for 10 this year? I just need like 1.5.
Let me hold like 1.5. 1.5.
All right, man.
Byron, thanks again, man. You've been a pleasure, and we'll definitely have you back for your once you reach your goal for the year, which I'm sure you'll get in the next 6 months. So.
Let's get it, guys. Appreciate you guys, man. Have a blessed one.
99 Hustle signing out.